The cold reception. The winter wind cut through the city, crisp and biting, as Maya Henderson stepped out of her black luxury sedan in front of the Horizon Hotel, a towering glass building reflecting the city's skyline. The Horizon had been a symbol of elite luxury for decades. Maya smoothed her tailored suit and took a deep breath, glancing back at her assistant, Layla Price, who stood by with their luggage, her expression calm yet alert. Maya had always known what it was to be judged before she even opened her mouth. But today was meant to be different. She'd booked a suite for the weekend, intending to enjoy a rare break while assessing the hotel for a possible investment partnership. The Horizon was well known in the industry, catering to an exclusive clientele that Maya hoped to tap into as part of her expansion strategy. Layla smiled encouragingly, and Maya returned it with a nod. "Let's make this a relaxing stay, shall we?" As they walked through the grand lobby, Maya took in the polished marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and sleek design that screamed affluence. Soft classical music played in the background, the perfect ambience for a place catering to the ultra-wealthy. But as they approached the check-in counter, Maya felt an uncomfortable prickle of familiarity. The watchful eyes, the slight stares. "Good evening," she said smoothly as they reached the counter. The receptionist looked up, her polite smile fading just a fraction as her gaze lingered on Maya. Her eyes quickly moved to Layla, then back to the computer screen. "Yes, good evening," the receptionist replied, her tone professional but lacking warmth. "How may I assist you?" "We have a reservation under Henderson." The receptionist's fingers moved over the keyboard, and after a moment, she glanced up with a forced smile. "Just one moment, please." Maya's brow furrowed slightly as she watched the receptionist. The hesitation wasn't uncommon, but after decades in the industry, she could tell when a delay was deliberate. A manager in a tailored suit approached, his face a mask of professionalism that barely concealed his discomfort. "Is there an issue?" Layla asked, her tone polite, but with a hint of firmness. The manager cleared his throat, glancing uncomfortably at Maya. "Ms. Henderson, I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. Unfortunately, all our suites are fully booked for this evening." Maya arched an eyebrow, her composure unshaken. "Fully booked," she repeated. "I confirmed this reservation personally 2 weeks ago. My assistant double-checked it yesterday." "Yes, I understand," he replied, clasping his hands with an apologetic smile. "But unfortunately, we have no availability." Layla's face flushed with anger. "That's ridiculous. We know this suite is available. Why is there suddenly an issue?" The manager's gaze shifted, and for a brief moment, Maya saw the truth in his eyes. The discomfort, the bias he tried to hide beneath his mask of professionalism. He expected her to argue, to cause a scene. This was a game she had seen played many times before, a silent rejection based on assumptions and prejudice. But Maya was past the point of anger. She lifted her chin slightly, her expression calm. "Thank you for your time," she said, her tone as icy as the winter wind outside. "We'll make other arrangements." The manager blinked, clearly taken aback by her calm response, and Layla followed her lead as they turned and walked out of the hotel. The cold air was bracing, but it helped cool the frustration simmering beneath Maya's composed exterior. "This is outrageous, Maya," Layla said, shaking her head. "How many times do you have to prove yourself in places like this?" Maya stopped, looking up at the hotel's towering facade, glinting in the winter sun. "Too many times," she replied quietly. "But fighting this here, on their terms, won't change a thing." "So what are you going to do?" Layla asked, her voice filled with admiration and a spark of curiosity. Maya's gaze hardened as a thought took root. "I'm going to ensure that places like this never close their doors on anyone based on who they are." She glanced at Layla, a determined smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. "We'll find another place to stay tonight. Then tomorrow, we're getting to work." Layla's eyes widened, but she nodded, a grin spreading across her face. "Understood, Maya. Whatever you have in mind, I'm with you." As they left the horizon behind, a plan began to form in Maya's mind. A plan that would shift the balance of power in a way this hotel's management would never expect. The horizon had rejected her as a guest, but Maya was about to make a move that would redefine the entire game. A new game plan. Later that evening, Maya and Layla settled into a boutique hotel across town. It was smaller, with a quieter ambience, yet the warmth of its staff and the inclusive atmosphere felt like a haven after the treatment at the horizon. The staff here welcomed Maya with genuine smiles, treating her with the respect she had earned through years of hard work. But even in this welcoming setting, Maya's mind remained sharp and restless, replaying the events at the horizon. The dismissive tones, the practiced smiles that had barely concealed prejudice. Maya didn't want to dwell on the bitterness of it. She had risen beyond such moments time and again. But this time felt different. She was no longer a fresh entrepreneur trying to break into the market. She was a seasoned leader in the hospitality industry, a symbol of strength and resilience in her field. She had fought hard to build a business that celebrated diversity, yet here she was, still facing walls meant to shut her out. As Maya poured herself a cup of tea from the suite's small kitchen, Layla joined her, placing a stack of documents on the table. "I did some digging," Layla said, pulling out a file with crisp determination. "Turns out, the horizon isn't doing as well as they let on." Maya looked up, curiosity piqued. "Oh." Layla opened the file to a series of financial records she'd managed to retrieve through contacts in the industry. "They're barely staying afloat, Maya. The hotel has seen a sharp decline in profit over the past 5 years. They keep up the facade, but the numbers tell a different story. The horizon is a relic trying to cling to an outdated idea of luxury, and it's failing." Maya's gaze flicked over the documents, her mind turning with possibilities. "So they're trying to keep up appearances," she murmured, almost to herself. "They cater to a specific crowd, no doubt, and if they're struggling financially, that exclusivity is part of what's draining them. They think shutting people out will somehow boost their prestige." Layla nodded, her eyes bright with a spark of excitement. "Exactly. The management is stuck in the past, relying on a name that doesn't hold the same weight it used to. But the investors, they are likely panicking, watching their returns plummet. They'd probably jump at the chance to sell if the right offer came along." A slow smile spread across Maya's face as a plan began to take shape. "So, they don't want me as a guest," she said, a hint of amusement in her voice. "But they have no idea that they need me as a buyer." Layla's eyes widened as she realized the scope of Maya's idea. "You're thinking of buying it out." "Not just buying it," Maya replied, her tone calm but resolute. "I'm thinking of transforming it. The horizon prides itself on exclusivity, but I've built my empire on inclusion, on welcoming people who often feel like outsiders in luxury spaces. They turn me away as a guest. But if I own the place, I can change the entire game." Layla leaned forward, her expression a mix of admiration and excitement. "Maya, this could be revolutionary. If you turn the horizon into a place that celebrates diversity and inclusivity, it would be a powerful statement, especially in a hotel as iconic as this." Maya nodded, her gaze focused. "We'll need to be strategic, though. If the current management senses I'm behind the acquisition, they'll resist. We have to keep my identity hidden until the deal is sealed." "Consider it done," Layla replied, flipping open her laptop. "I'll get in touch with some of our trusted advisors and start crafting a cover for the acquisition. We'll go through an intermediary, someone the investors trust. It'll keep us under the radar." Maya took a sip of her tea, her mind racing through the details of what would come next. She'd always been a strategist, a visionary who saw opportunities where others saw barriers. But this plan required more than vision. It required finesse, patience, and a team of people she could rely on to carry out every detail with precision. She would have to navigate the egos, the long-standing biases, and the reluctance to change that the Horizon's management harbored. "Start by contacting Reed Holdings," Maya instructed. They're known for discreetly brokering high-stakes deals, and they owe me a favor. They'll approach the horizon as a faceless buyer, just another investor looking to expand their portfolio. Layla's fingers flew over the keyboard as she took notes, her gaze focused and determined. And once we're in, Maya replied, her voice steady, we'll take control from the inside, but we'll do it on our terms. I want a complete audit of their policies and practices, and I want detailed reports on their hiring and training processes. We'll clean house if we have to. Layla nodded, a smile tugging at her lips. You're going to shake up their entire world. That's the plan, Maya said, her eyes gleaming with determination. If they wanted to keep me out, they should have thought twice before letting their financials slip. This won't just be a hostile takeover. It'll be a transformation. By the next morning, Layla had made the initial contacts, and the wheels of the takeover began to turn. Reed Holdings approached the Horizon's investors with a generous offer, positioning themselves as a high-net-worth investment group looking to acquire luxury properties with potential for growth. The Horizon's investors, grappling with dwindling returns, were intrigued. As Layla and Maya anticipated, the investors saw this as a chance to offload a property that was turning into a liability. Throughout the process, Maya remained in the background, maintaining an air of secrecy. She knew the hotel's management would never welcome her if they knew she was behind the acquisition. She'd learned long ago that some battles required patience and discretion. Her name was well known in the industry, and she couldn't risk tipping them off before the papers were signed. But as Maya watched the deal progress, she also felt a growing sense of responsibility. This wasn't just about buying the hotel. It was about dismantling the barriers that places like the Horizon had maintained for far too long. She thought of the young professionals who would be welcomed at the Horizon, of families and travelers who would feel seen and valued. She was about to redefine luxury, and she was doing it with purpose. Late one evening, as the documents for the acquisition neared completion, Layla entered Maya's temporary office, her face beaming. "They're ready to sign," she said, unable to contain her excitement. "The investors are thrilled with the offer. They're even discussing expanding their portfolio once they're rid of the Horizon." Maya chuckled, shaking her head. "They have no idea, do they?" Layla grinned. "Not a clue. They think it's just another faceless conglomerate coming in to take over." "Good. The less they know, the better," Maya replied, a sense of satisfaction settling over her. "Let them sign, and once we have control, we'll announce the changes." The final papers were set to be signed at the end of the month, a meeting held in a discreet conference room where only the investors and Reed Holdings representatives would be present. As part of the deal, Maya's ownership would remain concealed until the transaction was complete. Once her name appeared on the final document, however, there would be no turning back. On the day of the signing, Maya waited anxiously in her suite, watching the clock tick down the minutes. Layla texted her updates, keeping her informed of every stage as the investors reviewed the final details. "It's done," Layla texted, a few minutes past noon. "You're officially the owner of the Horizon." Maya smiled, a deep sense of fulfillment filling her. She closed her laptop and took a moment to savor the victory. The hotel that had turned her away as a guest was now hers. But this was just the beginning. She had no intention of merely owning the Horizon. She would redefine it, reshape its culture, and turn it into a beacon of inclusivity. That evening, she and Layla went out to celebrate, toasting to the future of the Horizon. For the first time in weeks, Maya allowed herself to relax, knowing that the hard part was over. But as she clinked glasses with her assistant, her mind was already working through the next steps. "Here's to the Horizon's new era," Layla said, her voice filled with pride. Maya raised her glass, a gleam of determination in her eyes. "Here's to tearing down the walls they built to keep us out, and building something that welcomes everyone." Sealing the deal. The ink was barely dry on the acquisition papers when Maya and her team began preparations for their first official visit to the Horizon as its new owners. While the investors had relinquished control, The Horizon's senior management was still unaware of the change in ownership. They had assumed the new acquisition was simply another faceless conglomerate, and that their daily routines would go on as usual. But Maya had other plans. It was early evening when Maya and Layla entered the discreet lobby of Reed Holdings, where a small private meeting room awaited. Maya had arranged a formal introduction to the Horizon's management, carefully orchestrating the timing and tone. She wanted the current team to know she was the new owner, but she also wanted them to understand that the changes would go far beyond simple corporate restructuring. "Are you ready?" Layla asked as they approached the glass doors of the meeting room. Maya took a steadying breath. More than ready. It's time they see what real leadership looks like. Inside the room, the atmosphere was tense. The Horizon's executive team sat around a polished oak table, waiting. Robert Hale, the hotel's long-standing general manager, sat at the head of the table, his expression exuding practiced calm. Maya took note of him first. Hale was a man who had built his reputation on maintaining tradition, someone whose perspective had likely shaped the Horizon's exclusionary culture. As Maya and Layla entered, Hale's eyebrows rose slightly, but he made no move to rise or greet them. Maya kept her expression neutral as she took her seat, her presence calm but commanding. Layla sat beside her, opening a slim leather folder containing documents and notes they would need for the meeting. "Good evening, Ms. Holloway," Hale said, his voice carefully modulated. "I understand we have some business to discuss." Maya met his gaze, her expression unwavering. "That's correct. I'm here to introduce myself as the Horizon's new owner. As of this morning, the property and all its holdings are under my ownership." The word hung in the air, and a ripple of shock crossed Hale's face. He exchanged a quick glance with several of the other managers. None of them had expected this. To them, Maya was just another high-net-worth individual with no place in their exclusive world. Now she was the authority figure who held their careers in her hands. "I see," Hale managed, his voice uncertain for the first time. "This is quite unexpected." Maya didn't allow his hesitation to break her composure. "Let me be clear, Mr. Hale," she began, her tone firm but calm. "The Horizon is known for its reputation as an exclusive establishment. But exclusivity, in this case, has been a thin veil for exclusion. I'm here to change that. The Horizon will remain a luxury hotel, but it will become a place where all guests are welcome, no matter who they are or what they look like." Hale's face flushed, and he shifted in his seat. "Ms. Holloway, with all due respect, our guests expect a certain standard, a certain atmosphere, if you will." Maya held up a hand, silencing him. "Your standards and atmosphere have been exclusionary, and that ends now. I intend to create a place of true luxury, one where diversity and inclusion are not only valued but celebrated. Any resistance to these new values will be met with swift changes in staff. I hope that's understood." The room fell silent. Maya's words left no room for misinterpretation, and the expressions on the executives' faces ranged from shock to dismay. Hale's gaze hardened, and Maya could see the wheels turning in his mind as he tried to grasp the reality of the situation. The hotel that he had controlled for years, molding it to his own narrow vision, was now beyond his grasp. "Very well," Hale said after a long pause, his voice clipped. "If these are your wishes, Ms. Holloway, we'll do our best to accommodate them." Maya allowed herself a slight smile. "Good. I'd like an in-depth report on current hiring practices, training programs, and guest service policies on my desk by tomorrow morning. We'll be undergoing a full evaluation of staff and operational procedures." Hale stiffened, but he nodded. "Understood." As the meeting ended, Maya and Layla made their way back to the car, the cool evening air a welcome relief from the tension inside. Layla turned to Maya with a grin, her eyes gleaming with admiration. "You really did it, Maya. You owned that room." "It's just the beginning," Maya replied. "They'll fall in line, or they'll be out. I won't let this place remain a symbol of exclusion any longer." The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity as Maya dove into the process of transforming the Horizon from the inside out. She assembled a specialized team of diversity and inclusion consultants, hospitality trainers, and branding experts to reimagine the Horizon's identity. The process was exhaustive and demanding, but Maya's determination only grew with each step. The first challenge came in the form of resistance from senior staff, many of whom had been with the Horizon for decades. They balked at the changes, clinging to outdated practices and beliefs. Rumors swirled through the hotel that Maya's plans would ruin its reputation, that she was turning the revered institution into just another hotel. Maya was well aware of the whispers but remained resolute. She knew change wasn't easy, especially for those who benefited from the old ways. Maya's first major decision was to bring in a diverse group of new hires, giving people from different backgrounds a chance to join the Horizon's team. The hiring process was rigorous, and Maya personally reviewed each candidate, ensuring they shared her commitment to hospitality and inclusivity. She replaced several senior managers, including Hale, whose resistance to her vision had become a roadblock. On Hale's final day, Maya called him into her office. She didn't gloat or taunt him. Instead, she simply offered him a handshake and wished him well. He accepted her hand with a curt nod, his expression unreadable, but Maya could sense the anger simmering beneath his calm exterior. It was a symbolic moment, one that marked the end of an era defined by exclusivity and the beginning of a new chapter. After Hale's departure, the atmosphere in the Horizon began to shift. The remaining staff, initially wary of Maya's vision, saw the positive changes happening around them. Guests began to notice, too. The once rigid and formal atmosphere of the hotel was replaced by a welcoming environment where every guest was treated with respect and dignity. Maya's changes took root, and slowly the hotel began to blossom in a way it never had before. The Horizon's transformation didn't go unnoticed in the industry. Maya had turned the hotel into a case study in modern luxury, proving that true prestige came not from excluding others, but from creating a space where everyone felt valued. Articles appeared in hospitality magazines, praising the new direction of the Horizon, and guests began to flock to the hotel, eager to experience its redefined luxury. One evening, as Maya was reviewing final reports in her office, Layla entered with a newspaper in her hand, her face alight with excitement. "You have to see this," Layla said, holding up the article for Maya to read. The headline read, "The Horizon Hotel, a new era of luxury and inclusivity," followed by a glowing review of Maya's transformation of the property. The writer praised the hotel's commitment to diversity, the warm and welcoming environment, and the unique blend of modern luxury with a focus on community and inclusion. The Horizon was being hailed as a leader in the industry, a hotel that had set a new standard for what it meant to be a place of true elegance and prestige. Maya smiled as she read the article, feeling the deep sense of fulfillment. This wasn't just a personal victory. It was a statement to the industry and to every person who had ever felt unwelcome in luxury spaces. "Look at this part," Layla said, pointing to a passage in the article. "Under Ms. Holloway's leadership, the Horizon has become more than a hotel. It is a beacon of progress and inclusion, redefining the very concept of luxury." The hotel's new motto, "Where all are welcome," has become a symbol of the future of hospitality. Maya leaned back in her chair, letting the words sink in. This was the culmination of everything she had worked for, a vision turned into reality. She had transformed the Horizon into a place that welcomed everyone, a hotel that embodied her values and her belief in the power of inclusivity. "It's just the beginning," Maya said, her voice steady but filled with purpose. "We have so much more to do." Layla smiled, nodding. "If this is just the beginning, then I can't wait to see what comes next." Together, they looked out over the city from the office window, their reflections mingling with the skyline. The Horizon had become more than just a hotel. It was a symbol of change, of progress, of a future where luxury wasn't about exclusion, but about creating a space where everyone belonged. And under Maya's leadership, that future was only just beginning. Rebuilding from within. The buzz surrounding the Horizon's transformation continued to ripple through the industry, drawing in new clientele and changing the hotel's image from a stuffy, exclusive enclave to a welcoming landmark of modern luxury. Maya felt a quiet pride watching the change, but she knew her work had only just begun. It wasn't enough to adjust the surface. The core of the Horizon needed a thorough rebuilding. This meant addressing the last bastions of resistance within the staff. While Maya had restructured much of the leadership, a handful of employees, accustomed to the old ways, still held on to grudges and skepticism. She knew she'd have to tackle this resistance head-on, starting with a series of direct, sometimes uncomfortable conversations. One rainy morning, Maya convened a meeting with the department heads who had survived the initial changes. They sat around the expansive conference table, looking both curious and wary. Maya was aware that for some, this was just another formality they had to endure. They believed her changes would be temporary, that eventually the old ways would creep back. She intended to show them otherwise. As she stepped to the front of the room, the rain pattering against the windows, Maya could feel the weight of expectation in the air. She took a deep breath and began. "Good morning, everyone. I want to start by thanking you for the dedication you've shown over the past few months. I know it hasn't been easy adjusting to the changes here at the Horizon," she said, making eye contact with each person around the table. "But I didn't purchase this hotel to make small adjustments. I'm here to create an environment where every guest, no matter who they are, feels valued and welcome." A few department heads shifted uncomfortably in their seats, exchanging glances. Now, I understand some of you may be wondering if these changes are temporary. Maybe you think that once the attention dies down, we'll slip back into old practices. Maya's gaze was steady as she let the words sink in. "Let me be very clear. That will not happen. This is not a trend or a temporary adjustment. It's a new chapter for the Horizon." The room was silent. Maya could feel a blend of resistance and curiosity in the air. "Mr. Ross," she said, turning to the head of the concierge team, a man who had been vocal about his doubts regarding the changes. "I know you've been here for over 15 years. You've seen this hotel through many phases. What are your thoughts on the direction we're taking?" Ross, a man in his early 60s with a distinguished air, cleared his throat. "With all due respect, Ms. Holloway, the Horizon has built its reputation on exclusivity. Our guests expect a certain ambience. If we open the doors too widely, we risk diluting what makes us unique." Maya nodded, letting his words settle. She had anticipated this argument. "I understand your perspective, Mr. Ross," she replied calmly. "But I believe we're confusing exclusivity with elitism. True luxury isn't about excluding people. It's about offering an experience that feels exceptional. That's what our guests truly want. They don't want to be shut off from the world. They want to feel embraced by it, to feel like they're part of something special." Another department head, Ms. James from Guest Services, raised her hand. "Ms. Holloway, I've had guests comment that the changes feel different. Some seem uncertain about the new tone of the hotel." Maya nodded, appreciating her honesty. Change always feels different, especially in a place as steeped in tradition as the Horizon. But we're not losing our identity. We're evolving it. The beauty of what we're creating is that everyone is welcome. Our brand of luxury will be about creating an inclusive community, and I need each of you to be ambassadors of this vision." She paused, taking a moment to let her words resonate. "I know this is a challenge, and I know it's uncomfortable, but that's part of growth. I'd like each of you to take this new direction to heart. Think about what it means to create a place where anyone, any family, any individual, any group, feels respected and celebrated." Ross shifted again in his seat, crossing his arms. "And what if this direction doesn't appeal to us?" Maya met his gaze steadily. "Then it's your choice to step aside. I won't ask anyone to stay who doesn't believe in this vision. But know this, the Horizon will thrive. We're already seeing the results. This hotel is drawing attention from a new generation of guests who value a progressive, welcoming luxury experience. If you don't want to be part of that future, I'll respect that, but you can't stand in the way of our progress." A murmur spread through the room. Maya knew the message was clear. This wasn't an invitation to debate, but a call to join her in transforming the horizon. Ross looked down, seemingly lost in thought, while Ms. James nodded thoughtfully, appearing to consider Maya's words. As the meeting wrapped up, Maya felt a mixture of emotions, relief that she had conveyed her message, but also the weight of the task that lay ahead. Changing minds was never easy, especially when dealing with deeply ingrained beliefs, but she knew she had planted a seed. Over the next few weeks, Maya doubled down on her efforts. She implemented a training program that focused on customer service excellence, empathy, and understanding the diverse backgrounds of guests. She partnered with a renowned hospitality consultant who specialized in inclusive luxury experiences and invited him to lead workshops with the staff. Gradually, she began to see changes. Mr. Ross, though initially resistant, started embracing the new approach. His interactions with guests grew warmer, and he even introduced subtle changes in his department to create a more welcoming experience. Ms. James became one of Maya's strongest allies, eagerly incorporating the new training methods into her team's routines. Word about the Horizon's transformation continued to spread, drawing attention from both loyal and new patrons. The press buzzed with stories about the revolutionary new approach to luxury, and Maya was invited to speak at industry conferences. She shared her vision of inclusivity in luxury spaces, emphasizing the importance of creating environments where people of all backgrounds felt celebrated. One afternoon, as Maya was reviewing guest feedback reports, she noticed an entry that made her pause. A longtime guest had written, "The Horizon feels like it's truly opened its doors for the first time. I've been a guest here for years, but now I feel as if I'm part of something bigger, something meaningful." Maya felt a swell of pride reading those words. She had set out to create a place where everyone felt they belonged, and here was the evidence that it was working. But one challenge still remained: unveiling her ownership publicly. She knew that the time was coming when she would need to formally announce her role as the visionary behind the Horizon's new chapter. While the staff knew her as the new owner, many guests and members of the public were unaware that a black woman was at the helm of one of the city's most prestigious hotels. She thought carefully about how to approach it. This announcement wasn't just about her. It was a message to the industry, a testament to the power of resilience and determination in breaking down barriers. She decided to host a grand event, a gala celebrating the Horizon's evolution and officially marking the beginning of its new chapter. As the preparations for the event began, Maya worked closely with Layla to design an evening that would capture the essence of the Horizon's transformation. Invitations went out to dignitaries, influencers, press, and long-standing guests, each one designed with the hotel's new motto printed in elegant lettering, "Where all are welcome." On the night of the event, the hotel lobby sparkled with lights, and the scent of fresh flowers filled the air. Guests arrived dressed in formal attire, eager to witness what Maya had described as the unveiling of a new era. Layla stood beside Maya, watching the room fill with anticipation. "It's finally happening," Layla whispered, her eyes shining with pride. Maya nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. She had fought her entire career to break down walls, and tonight was the culmination of that journey. As she stepped onto the small stage in the grand ballroom, the chatter in the room quieted, and all eyes turned toward her. "Good evening, everyone," she began, her voice calm but strong. "Thank you for joining us tonight. I am deeply honored to share this moment with all of you as we celebrate a new chapter for the Horizon." She paused, scanning the room, taking in the faces of the guests who had gathered. For years, the Horizon has stood as a beacon of luxury. But luxury is not about keeping others out. True luxury is about creating an experience so remarkable that everyone feels honored to be part of it. Tonight, I am proud to announce that the Horizon is now a place where all are welcome, a place that celebrates diversity, inclusion, and respect. A ripple of applause filled the room, and Maya took a steadying breath. When I purchased this hotel, I was driven by a vision of what the Horizon could become. It is more than just a hotel. It is a symbol of progress, of a world where everyone can belong. As the applause swelled, Maya felt the weight of her journey, the struggle, the resilience, the unwavering belief in a better world, finally lift. The Horizon was now a place of belonging, and with each clap of the audience, she knew she had truly won. A new legacy. The morning after the Horizon's grand reopening gala, Maya stepped out onto the hotel's rooftop terrace, overlooking the city she loved. The sky was clear, with the first rays of sunlight glinting off the buildings, bathing everything in a warm glow. The gala had been a resounding success. The hotel was alive with the energy of its transformation, and the city had taken notice. As she gazed over the skyline, Maya allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. It had taken months of hard work and determination, but she had built something that would last, a legacy that represented everything she believed in. The Horizon was no longer just a hotel. It was a place of progress, a symbol of change in an industry that was often slow to adapt. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, and she glanced at it. Layla had sent a series of messages, each with a link to articles and posts about the gala. The coverage was overwhelmingly positive. Magazines, newspapers, and influencers were praising the event and celebrating the Horizon's new mission. But as Maya read through the headlines, she knew that this was only the beginning. Just as she was about to head back inside, Layla appeared, a look of excitement and concern mingling on her face. She held a newspaper in her hand, the headline bold and direct. A new face of luxury. The Horizon's transformational shift. Below it was a photograph of Maya from the night before, addressing the crowd. "This is the third cover story this week," Layla said, handing Maya the newspaper. "People are really noticing what you've done. But there's also a bit of backlash." Maya raised an eyebrow, flipping through the article. It highlighted the sweeping changes she had made, praising the hotel's inclusivity, but also hinted at criticism from traditional patrons who felt that the Horizon's unique identity was being lost in the transformation. "Ah," Maya said with a nod. "I expected this. There will always be those who resist change, especially when they feel that change challenges their comfort zones. Luxury has been defined in narrow terms for so long that inclusivity feels radical to some." Layla sighed, brushing a stray hair from her face. "One of the reporters contacted me directly this morning. They wanted a quote from you. They're running a story focused on whether the Horizon's new image will alienate its traditional clientele." Maya laughed softly, her voice calm and unwavering. "They're missing the point. Luxury isn't about alienation. It's about embracing quality, innovation, and service. We're redefining what luxury can mean in the modern world. And if that doesn't appeal to certain guests, then perhaps they're not part of our future." Layla nodded, smiling. "That's exactly what I hoped you'd say." Still, Maya knew that the backlash would be a challenge. Luxury brands were often slow to evolve, and many in the industry were still resistant to the concept of inclusivity as part of their brand identity. She would need to steer the Horizon through this period of transition carefully, balancing the hotel's new direction with the expectations of long-standing guests who might feel unsettled by the change. As the day went on, Maya gathered her senior team for a strategy meeting. She was determined to make the Horizon's values clear not only to her staff, but also to the wider community. Sitting at the head of the conference table, she addressed her team. "I know some of you are aware of the mixed reactions to our relaunch," she began. "But let me make something very clear. Our direction is not negotiable. The Horizon will continue to be a place where everyone feels valued and welcome. We're not here to make anyone uncomfortable, but we also won't pander to outdated standards." She paused, watching as the team nodded, some more enthusiastic than others. "This is the moment for us to set a new standard for the hospitality industry. I want each department to focus on refining the guest experience, creating an atmosphere that feels personal and inviting. True luxury is about making every guest feel like they belong. One of the managers, Emma from Guest Relations, raised her hand. Ms. Holloway, I've had a few guests express concerns about the changes. They're hesitant, I think, to accept that the horizon is moving in a different direction. How should we address those concerns? Maya nodded, appreciating Emma's thoughtfulness. Acknowledge their concerns, but also take the time to explain what our vision is. Change can be uncomfortable, but when guests see our commitment to quality and service, they'll come to understand that our values only add to the experience. It's not about what we're giving up. It's about what we're building together. Over the next few weeks, Maya and her team worked tirelessly to elevate every aspect of the guest experience, integrating small but meaningful touches that embodied the Horizon's new philosophy. The hotel introduced a series of cultural events, including art exhibits, live music performances, and chef-hosted dinners featuring cuisine from diverse backgrounds. Each event was carefully curated to reflect the richness of cultures and perspectives, creating an atmosphere that was both luxurious and inclusive. The response was powerful. While some longtime guests were still skeptical, others embraced the changes wholeheartedly. Maya began receiving letters from new guests who praised the Horizon's warmth and sophistication, describing how they felt truly welcomed for the first time. Families, business travelers, couples, all wrote to express how the hotel's new mission resonated with them on a personal level. But not all responses were positive. A small group of prominent socialites, who had once been regulars at the Horizon, staged a publicized boycott of the hotel, claiming that the establishment had lost its exclusivity. Maya's initial reaction was frustration. She had anticipated resistance, but the pettiness of their complaints was disheartening. However, as she discussed the issue with her team, she saw an opportunity. Let them boycott, Maya said with a calm smile. If they don't see the value in what we're building, then they're welcome to go elsewhere. We're not here to cater to elitism. We're here to redefine what luxury can be. The boycott gained some attention in the media, but it was soon overshadowed by the flood of positive reviews and testimonials from guests who felt empowered and included by the Horizon's new ethos. As the hotel's popularity grew, bookings surged, and Maya's vision continued to gain traction. She received requests from other hotels and luxury brands to consult on inclusive business models, each eager to learn from her pioneering approach. One afternoon, as Maya was wrapping up a meeting, Layla rushed into her office with a look of excitement. Maya, we just received an invitation to the International Luxury Hospitality Summit in Paris. They want you to be a keynote speaker on the future of inclusivity in luxury. Maya's eyes widened in surprise. The International Luxury Hospitality Summit was one of the most prestigious events in the industry, a gathering of the world's leading minds in hospitality. To be invited as a keynote speaker was an honor reserved for the most influential figures. This is incredible, Maya said, her voice filled with gratitude. We're not just changing the horizon, we're changing the conversation in the industry. As the date of the summit approached, Maya prepared her speech, carefully crafting her message. She knew this was her chance to inspire other leaders in hospitality, to show them that luxury could be more than just opulence and exclusivity. It could be a force for unity, a space where people from all walks of life felt valued. On the day of the summit, Maya stood on the grand stage in front of an audience of industry elites. She felt the weight of the moment, knowing that this was her chance to create a ripple effect that could shape the future of hospitality. Good afternoon, she began, her voice steady and confident. When I first acquired the Horizon, many believed I was making a mistake. They thought that a commitment to inclusivity would dilute what made the hotel special. But I believe that true luxury lies not in exclusion, but in creating spaces where every guest feels valued. She paused, letting the words sink in. The room was silent, captivated by her presence. Luxury is about quality, but it is also about empathy. It's about understanding that every guest who walks through our doors is seeking a place where they feel they belong. The horizon is no longer a place of division. It is a place of connection, of respect, of shared experience. And in a world that often feels divided, isn't that what we all need? The applause was thunderous, filling the room with energy and support. As Maya stepped down from the stage, she was met with handshakes and congratulations from leaders who once doubted her vision. They had seen firsthand what she had accomplished, and they wanted to be part of the future she was building. That night, as she returned to the horizon, Maya reflected on the journey that had brought her here. She thought of the cold reception she had received on that first day, the barriers she had broken through, and the legacy she was creating. She had transformed the horizon into more than just a hotel. It was now a beacon of progress, a place where everyone felt welcome. As she stood in the lobby, watching guests move through the beautiful space she had reimagined, Maya felt a profound sense of peace. She had fought against resistance, against prejudice, and had won. But her victory was more than personal. She had changed the world around her, proving that with determination, compassion, and resilience, real transformation was possible. And as the lights of the horizon sparkled in the night, Maya knew that this was only the beginning of her legacy. A legacy reimagined. The weeks following Maya's speech at the International Luxury Hospitality Summit were a whirlwind of new opportunities and challenges. Her words about inclusivity and luxury had resonated beyond the walls of the summit. She was receiving calls and messages from leaders in industries ranging from travel to retail, all eager to understand how they, too, could redefine their brand through inclusivity. Her message had sparked a movement, one that was inspiring others to challenge tradition and embrace the future. But as her influence grew, so did the responsibilities of managing the horizon. Maya was now overseeing a hotel that had become not just a destination, but a model for inclusive luxury. And with that came the weight of expectations. Each day, she faced questions from her team, feedback from guests, and requests from other brands asking her to consult on similar transformations. She knew that staying true to her vision would require focus, persistence, and a relentless commitment to her values. One brisk autumn morning, Maya gathered her senior team in the Horizon's grand conference room for a critical meeting. The agenda was clear. They were going to finalize the next steps in cementing the Horizon's new identity, expanding their brand's reach, and finding ways to ensure that the hotel continued to live up to its promise. "Thank you all for being here," Maya began, her voice warm but firm. "We've come a long way since I acquired this hotel. We've proven that inclusivity can coexist with luxury, and our guests and the industry are taking notice. But we can't rest on our laurels. We need to think about how to continue innovating, how to keep growing without losing what makes the Horizon special." The team exchanged glances, each of them feeling the weight of the moment. They had witnessed the hotel's transformation firsthand and had grown to embrace Maya's vision. Emma, from guest relations, raised her hand, her eyes bright with excitement. "I've been thinking a lot about our guests and how we can continue building relationships with them. I think it's time we establish a loyalty program, something that reflects our values, not just points or discounts, but unique experiences tailored to the interests of each guest." Maya smiled, nodding thoughtfully. "I love that idea, Emma. Let's focus on curating experiences that reflect the diversity of our guests. We could host private dinners with visiting chefs, arrange tours that highlight local cultural sites, or offer workshops with artists from different backgrounds." Another team member, Carlos from housekeeping and maintenance, chimed in. "Ms. Holloway, I've been working with my team on ways to make our hiring process more inclusive, especially for local residents who may not have hospitality experience, but have a passion for the industry. We can train them, bring in people who reflect the community around us." Maya's heart swelled with pride. "Carlos, that's brilliant. Our staff should be as diverse as our guests. Let's make it happen." They continued to brainstorm, the energy in the room buzzing as each department head shared ideas for fostering an environment that truly embodied the Horizon's mission. Maya felt a profound sense of gratitude and purpose as she listened to her team. This wasn't just her vision anymore. It belonged to everyone in the room. After the meeting, Maya retreated to her office, looking out over the city as she reflected on what they had accomplished. The hotel was thriving financially, its rooms fully booked, and its events attracting an international audience. Guests from all walks of life were coming to experience the redefined luxury that Maya had introduced, and each of them left with a story, a memory that felt personal and meaningful. But Maya knew that the Horizon's success wasn't just about the numbers. It was about creating a legacy that would outlast her, a foundation that would stand for generations. And that meant thinking about the future in a way she hadn't before. She reached for her phone and called Layla. "Hey, Layla," she said when her assistant picked up. "Can you come to my office? I want to discuss something big." Minutes later, Layla entered, her usual confidence tempered by curiosity. Maya gestured for her to sit, her expression thoughtful. "Layla, I've been thinking about what comes next," Maya began, choosing her words carefully. "The Horizon has become more than just a hotel. It's become a symbol of something bigger. But I want to make sure this legacy continues, even after we're no longer here." Layla's eyes widened as she began to realize what Maya was implying. "Are you thinking of stepping down?" Maya shook her head. "Not right away. I'm not done yet," she said with a smile. "But I want to set up something lasting. A foundation, maybe, a way to support initiatives in the hospitality industry that promote diversity, inclusivity, and innovation. We could offer scholarships to underrepresented students pursuing hospitality degrees, fund cultural exchange programs for hotel staff, and invest in small businesses that reflect our values." Layla's face broke into a grin. "Maya, that's incredible. You could change the entire industry." "That's the goal," Maya replied. "The Horizon has shown that people want an inclusive luxury experience. If we can use our success to inspire and support others, we could start a movement." Over the next few months, Maya and Layla worked tirelessly to establish the Horizon Foundation for Inclusive Hospitality. They poured resources into building a framework for the foundation, enlisting advisors, and reaching out to universities and training programs around the world. The foundation would offer mentorship, internships, and scholarships to individuals who wanted to break into the industry but faced barriers due to race, gender, or socioeconomic background. The Horizon Foundation quickly gained attention, and industry leaders were eager to partner with it. Maya was invited to speak at universities and conferences, sharing her vision and encouraging a new generation of leaders to carry forward the torch of inclusivity. Her foundation became a powerful force, not only supporting individuals but also challenging the industry to examine its biases and reimagine what luxury could be. One evening, a year after the Horizon's transformation, Maya sat in her office, surrounded by letters from foundation recipients. They thanked her for the scholarships that allowed them to pursue their dreams, the mentorship that had helped them grow, the internships that opened doors to careers they never thought possible. The foundation was flourishing, and Maya could feel that her legacy was taking root in ways she had never imagined. There was one letter in particular that caught her eye, a handwritten note from a young woman named Alicia, who had recently graduated from one of the foundation's scholarship programs. Alicia shared her story of growing up in a small town, where opportunities were scarce and dreams were often dismissed. She thanked Maya for giving her the chance to work in a world she had only ever seen from afar, describing how she now worked as a guest relations coordinator at a prominent hotel. Maya felt a lump form in her throat as she read Alicia's words. This was why she had done it, for people like Alicia, for the countless others who needed someone to believe in them. The next day, Maya invited Alicia to visit the Horizon. She wanted to meet this young woman whose words had moved her so deeply. When Alicia arrived, Maya greeted her with a warm smile, taking her on a tour of the hotel, showing her the spaces that had become symbols of transformation. As they stood on the rooftop terrace, overlooking the city, Alicia turned to Maya, her eyes filled with awe and gratitude. "Thank you, Ms. Holloway," Alicia said, her voice barely a whisper. "You've changed my life." Maya placed a gentle hand on Alicia's shoulder. "The foundation may have helped, Alicia, but you're the one who changed your life. I just gave you the opportunity. Now, it's up to you to make the most of it." As Maya looked out over the city, with Alicia beside her, she felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The horizon wasn't just a hotel. It was a beacon, a testament to what could be achieved with courage, compassion, and vision. She had built more than just a business. She had built a community, a legacy that would inspire and uplift generations. Years later, when Maya finally decided to step down and let new leadership guide the horizon, she did so with a sense of peace. She had accomplished what she had set out to do and more. The horizon continued to thrive, drawing guests from all walks of life, who came not only for its luxury, but for the story it represented. The story of a woman who had redefined what was possible. The hotel flourished under the principles she had instilled, and the Horizon Foundation continued to shape the lives of countless individuals. Maya's vision had become a part of the fabric of the industry, a reminder to everyone that luxury wasn't about exclusivity. It was about creating spaces where everyone belonged. As Maya walked through the lobby one last time, she looked around at the bustling crowd, at the families, the travelers, the young professionals, and felt a deep satisfaction. She had changed more than just a hotel. She had changed the world, one guest at a time. And in her heart, she knew that the horizon would forever be a place where all were welcome.